Speaking of Portugal,
Yeah,
your boy Ronaldo.
Yeah, my goat.
Your goat.
My goat,
certain man's goat, blood.
Certain man's goat.
My goat still has yet to do interviews, blood. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, your goat only scores penalties now, isn't it? And then with the World Cup.
52% of his games man-to-match performances. This is what it is.
True. No, like, what? You talk about the interview then?
Yeah.
Yeah, the interview. So,
Because
like...
you're a United fan as well.
Yeah, to be fair, like... When I was seeing the clips come out, and when I saw that he'd done this interview, I was thinking the worst. But like now seeing the entire interview, I think as a fan, I don't really think it's changed my opinion on... I'm slightly biased anyway because I'm Portuguese. So like I love Ronaldo and I loved him since the early days at United. But in terms of the whole interview, I don't necessarily think anything he said has made me go, nah, that guy's a cunt. Do you know what I mean?
The only thing I didn't like is there are moments of like hyper self-awareness where he knows he wants to develop and make himself better and always improve, and I respect that. Yeah. But then there's moments where he really lacks self-awareness.
Yeah.
Where he really lacks, you know, any of the comments about being better looking than Wayne Rooney or more successful. That's just
arrogance. And
it's beyond arrogance. Yeah, it's not necessary, right? You could think that in your head. But it's got you know what's annoying about it? It's got nothing to do with the conversation.
Yeah.
We're talking about football.
Yeah.
And you just start, do you know what I mean? Imagine you talk about football and I just go, well, I've got 900 followers and so, what's that got to do with anything? That's got nothing to do with the conversation. That's so random, right?
Yeah, just pop out nowhere.
But he's got, it's such an emotional roller coaster for me because he said stuff where I found him very, very endearing. I really liked him. And he said other stuff. I was like, this guy's an idiot, bro. Yeah. It was very flip-flopping, and I think a lot of that I put down to Piers Morgan because it wasn't really an interview.
Yeah, well that's the problem I had, is that I'm surprised at some point Piers didn't turn around and say, mate, can I just suck your dick?
It was like watching gay porn.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Genuinely, just every question he kind of, even that Rooney one, he said, oh, you got a lot of criticism from people that were close to you, which surprised me. Ronaldo was like, surprised me too. And then he was talking about how, what was it? What did Rooney say? He was saying... Oh, what was he saying?
All I remember, I didn't remember Rooney saying anything bad. I remember a quote of Rooney just saying he just needs to get his head down. He wouldn't have done this under Alex Ferguson.
No, but it wasn't that. There was something that he basically brought... Oh, no, he said, why do you think that is? Jealousy, perhaps? Is it because you're still playing professional football and he's not? And then Ronaldo said,
got you.
Like,
he
let
him
he's practically given him an answer. That's
where Ronaldo shows his naivety.
Yeah.
Because you're allowing someone of your size, you're still allowing yourself to be led and manipulated in that way.
Yeah.
Despite how smart and media savvy and business savvy you are. And so it's like, you know, that's the, I'm not gonna say I lost respect for him, but that's the part that made it very difficult to respect.
Yeah.
All the parts of like this kind of elite mentality and blah 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 blah, I get that, but if you are really self-aware, as he's trying to put himself across to be, you would be self-aware enough to know that you have to adjust your style. There aren't that many out and out nines. Look at Kane, has had a good season so far but hasn't scored, like, he's not like top goal scorer. Haaland started off really well but struggled. They're more traditional nines. They aren't the high press nines are the guys that are getting involved, and you know, so you have to be self-aware to see that the game is changing. And he lacks that ability to see where things are changing or weaknesses in himself. And like I say, in an interview like this, where Piers doesn't offer any pushback or anything, it was useless. Yeah. Do you think he was just trying to get out of United?
I think he was he had his back against the wall. He tried to move in the summer, didn't get his move, and he doesn't want to be at United. It was led on late last year, and early on in the summer window that he wanted to be at a club that was challenging the Champions League because he knows he hasn't got long left in the game. He's already said this is his last World Cup, so...
But which of those clubs would take it? There's talk about Bayern Munich now, but at the time, the issue that you had was that no top elite clubs in the Champions League would take him or look at him due to his style and due to his wages. Not necessarily him as a player, but the style of football that he plays.
But that's not how he sees it. In his mind, so like... You're right, with the hyper self-aware, he did say in parts of that interview, no one's the same as when they're younger, like age gets everyone. So he did actually address that.
Kind of, but not really.
But then he followed that up later on in the interview where he was talking about how many 37-year-olds are as good as him.
Right.
But you're not competing against 37-year-olds. Like, you've got Haaland now, who's a physical specimen, banging in goals. You're competing against that. Do you know what I mean? Like... that's what people pay 200 grand a week for now. You're getting paid 500 grand a week, and you're not scoring big.
It's almost so painful to see someone come so close to self-awareness,
Yeah.
but then
just just goes past their head.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
it's so
like,
weird.
He was so close. You're like, go on, say it, and then he just fucking ruins it like that. That was one point of contention which I didn't really like, is when he just thought that, how many 37-year-olds do you know that are as good as me? And it's like, well, most of them are retired, so you're not competing in a massive pool, but the people you are competing against are a lot younger, and like that's just.
Well, he takes pride in that, right? He takes pride in the fact that he looked after his body well enough to play at the top level at 37. But you have to be the issue is, he wants everybody to be at his standard.
Yeah. And
he will not be flexible anywhere.
Yeah.
So he won't be flexible on his wages. He will not be flexible on his playing time. He will not be flexible in being an ambassador for the club, but not, coming off the bench and but he will not be flexible in any. We've seen players go back to clubs and be more of like a player manager or a player coach, and not really play Carrick at the end of his career. He wasn't playing a lot. He was half coach, half player, and he had to take a step down in wages to reflect that. With Ronaldo, he's got this great mentality almost, but he will not be flexible in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, which leads me on to like the second point of contention in the interview, was talking about his relationship with Ten Hag.
Yeah.
And there was a word he said in it saying that there's no empathy, and I was watching the interview with two people that are Portuguese in my family.
Yeah.
And the word he used, he didn't mean empathy. What he meant was like chemistry. So he was talking about the chemistry between them. So like that, some of his interview got lost in translation because of.
I think if you were being sensible, you could pick that up.
But anyway, he was talking about his relationship with Ten Hag, and he said that he felt disrespected. And initially, I didn't agree with him because, like, if your manager asks you to do a job at any point in the game, you have to respect. The manager's he's got the keys. You have to listen to him. Like, if you work in a normal corporate job, your boss says to do something, you're going to do it. You might not like it, but you respect them and you listen to them. And the point that he was trying to make was that for the City game, he wouldn't bring him on at 6-1 down because we were getting smashed, and Ten Hag came out in the media and was like, you know what, I'm not going to play him. It's just not right to do that to his career. I actually thought fair play to Ten Hag. But then the game after that was against Tottenham, I think, or maybe a couple games after, and we're winning 2-0. We're destroying them. They haven't had a shot on goal. Like, they're struggling. Maybe 2 shots on goal throughout the entire thing. We are dominating them. 3 minutes left of the game, and then you look to your bench and you call them. I don't know what the point of that sub was. Like, maybe Ten Hag just wanted to waste time. If that was the case, then you could have literally chosen any player rather than the guy who has done what he's done with his career. So I can see what he means by that. I don't agree with him walking off the pitch.
But hold on, but is that then special treatment? He's a player.
Yeah.
So would Rooney have come on for that last 3 minutes if you guys are winning 3-0 and the game's basically over?
Probably.
Okay,
yeah.
And who's a bigger Man United icon? Not football icon, Man United icon.
Yeah, I'd probably say Ronaldo.
Ronaldo?
Well.
Over Rooney?
Well, Rooney's done a lot. He's our biggest goal scorer, but I don't know. I know.
But a lot of Man United fans would say Rooney is a bigger Manchester United icon.
Probably, I'm just biased in it.
Than Ronaldo, right? Ronaldo's a bigger football icon, Real Madrid icon, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Would Rooney have come on for their last 3 minutes?
He probably would have done, yeah.
Okay,
but then
cool.
people forget that Rooney also wanted to leave us as well.
I appreciate that, but this is we're not. You're trying to deflect.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to defend my boy, innit? Yeah.
But the point is,
got my back up.
As a manager, you don't always have time to explain everything that's happening with every thought process. So you have to trust that I'm doing this for a reason. And where there is no trust in that relationship, that's where the problem is. They do not trust each other. They do not respect each other. Whether that's both ways, one way, whatever. Once that's broken, you know what I mean? Because like you said, it could be time wasting. It could be an injury that he's not aware of. It could be anything. And they both speak very, very good English. I don't want to be disrespectful here because I can't speak any other languages. But you said some stuff can get lost in translation with Ronaldo. And it also might with Ten Hag because he's not completely fluent in English as well. So there are... amongst the lack of chemistry, there is also miscommunication within that.
I just... Obviously, we don't see what happened, but like it's supposed to be an uncensored interview, but I don't think we really got beneath the surface because a lot of the stuff he's talking about, he didn't really dive into the details of that substitution. Like he's probably had a conversation with.
He sounded more like Donald Trump.
Yeah,
it was like a list of. It was like a drunken list of tweets that he'd put up at 3 o'clock in the morning when he was pissed off. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't really like a deep dive into anything. It was all stuff that we already It's all stuff that we already knew.
Yeah, like even when he was talking about how, like, the younger players, they look up to him, they respect him, but they don't necessarily listen to him. Like, tell me what they're not listening to. Are you telling them to do something and we're not seeing it on the pitch?
Correct.
Can I relate to him because I'm watching the games? So if you tell me what you're telling them...
That's why there was all those made up tweets of like...
Yeah, of like Sancho and
music and all this
that
kind
was
of stuff.
borderline racism though, like some of the Sancho ones.
I think a lot of black people wrote them because I might have written them. But like if he went into that type of detail, I was like, because that I think that shows what people were expecting.
Yeah.
That shows the level of depth people were expecting, where it's like, I tried to teach him how to do this and he said, don't worry, I know how to do it. Yeah. But where he doesn't go into detail, we are left unable to really make an assessment or a judgment because we don't know. Maybe he's telling them stuff that's wrong. Yeah,
well, that's why I don't think the interview was necessarily as scathing as like the clips started to like come out and make out to be, because even with the Ten Hag thing, he hasn't gone deep diving. Maybe if he'd started talking about a conversation they had directly, and then that substitution was against what Ronaldo and him talked about, then I can see a lack of respect. Yeah. But now it's all open to interpretation. Yeah. And I think the other thing, just before we're probably going to move on after this, but the last thing I want to talk about was when he was talking about the younger players. I think Ronaldo needs to remember that not every player wants to be the best in the world. Like, I know that's the mentality he thinks that every player should strive to have. But you got to remember that this is just a job for some man. Like, some man just want to have a comfortable life and enjoy they want to set their family up for the rest of their lives, have, so that their kids can be sorted for the rest of their life, and that's them happy. They don't need to be, putting it up the best numbers like Ronaldo and Messi have been doing over these. They don't need their name up in lights like that. They just want to show up, do their job, train every day, go home.
Not all of them want to play at 37. By 37,
some of them are happy to.
Most of these guys will not be playing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when he's saying, look, you've got to eat this and drink this so that you can play at 37. They go, fuck that. I don't want to play at 37. I want to retire at 30. Some people might, he looks at it like longevity, and that is key. But some people have completed football in a shorter period of time. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So people look at like Iniesta and Xavi, and these guys go, Iniesta was playing in the Saudi League or China or wherever when he was 32. It's like he completed football by 28. Yeah.
He'd already won everything.
He'd won everything.
Yeah.
So, it's everybody's motivation is different.
Yeah, I feel like, and that proves that like you don't necessarily need to have the mentality that Ronaldo has to win stuff still. Like with Iniesta, like he didn't have the same mentality. He retired a lot early. Well, not retired, but pretty much retiring when you go to
out of the top 5 leagues.
Yeah, if you go to one of those leagues just for the money, you're pretty much done with football. Like, but he still won everything there was to win. Like, you don't necessarily need that. Oh, I need to be the best. Yeah. Obviously, you need the mentality that you want to improve, but like, he always makes a point about how he's the first one there and the last one to leave. But like, there's other circumstances that affect these players' lives.
Correct.
Maybe they're looking after an ill parent or something. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you just don't know. Yeah. So, obviously, like, if I was there and I wanted to improve, I would speak to Ronaldo, but I wouldn't necessarily live as like obsessively as he does. Yeah. And I think he doesn't seem to understand that. So he takes it as like, they don't really listen to me. But like, maybe they do, they just don't. I don't know, maybe they struggle to apply it, or they just don't want to live like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I like that he said about the World Cup, you've got these top elite teams, Brazil and France and Spain and Germany, and I think Portugal's just a level beneath that. Yeah. And then Piers said, where'd you put England? He was like, in a level beneath. I was like, I rated that so high, he didn't even lie. I rate that, and it's accurate. For me it's accurate, but I was just like, I love that you didn't just go, England. You just said, no, you guys, you're with us. We're the level, we're the second tier level of these World Cup teams.
But his PR was on point though. I love the fans. The fans, they're always right. The fans, he knew who to play to and who to. The other thing I did love about the interview was him talking about the structure, because like a lot of United fans have been banging on about that for years. Yeah. No one's listened, and now you have someone who's inside the club who's seen it firsthand, who is also echoing the same things. Yeah. I don't necessarily think it's going to cause anything or achieve anything, because the Glazers don't have to sell at the end of the day, and I don't think it's going to... He hasn't said anything that we haven't already known, but it just kind of backs the point that all the fans have been saying, that like the infrastructure is shit. Like, the club hasn't changed since he was last there 15 or 13 years ago.
And he knows good coaches from bad coaches as well, right? Because he...
because he rated Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
You know what I'm saying?
Huh?
He loves Arteta.
He did say that. He
Yeah,
did say
he's
that.
like,
But if he rates Ollie, then that doesn't mean much.
If Man U can...
he didn't even mention Sir Alex when he was talking about the top. Obviously, everybody knows he loves Sir Alex, but
Yeah.
he was like, I've been coached by the best, like Zidane, and then he was talking about, not Solskjaer, I think our coach for the national team, he mentioned him, and I'm like, he's a shit coach. Like,
they won the Euros.
Yeah, yeah, they did, but...
With that goal from Eder. But yeah, he said if Man United don't win...
I think he was flirting around with Arsenal because fucking Piers is... Do you know what? I saw a tweet.
They're clearly good friends. They're clearly mates.
Yeah. But I saw a tweet that made me laugh where it said, how is it that Osama bin Laden is an Arsenal fan and Piers Morgan is still the worst Arsenal fan to exist?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
We have terrible celebrity that KSIs. That's not that bad.
That's not that bad. Compared to Piers.
Bit of a weird guy.
Yeah.
John Burko, Speaker of the House.
I don't know him.
He's a bit of a prick.
I don't know Bin Laden. I don't even know if that's true.
Bin Laden's an Arsenal fan.
He was an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
The Queen was an Arsenal fan.
The Queen?
Queen was an Arsenal fan.
Okay, well.
I think the worst
Rest in
Arsenal
peace.
or not.
Yeah.